Over a millennium has passed, yet the tomb of Empress Wu Zetian remains untouched, unviolated by any, despite countless tomb raiders having set their sights on it. After 17 failed attempts to excavate it, people still whisper about the legendary treasure, thousands of tons of gold, buried alongside the queen. Next are the terrifying curses meant to protect this mysterious tomb village. So, what is so special about Wu Zetian's tomb that no one dares to violate it? What vile curse keeps all from daring to disturb the queen's slumber? Since ancient times, the Chinese have held the belief that death is no less significant than life. Worldly riches and honors not yet enjoyed in this life will be carried over to be fully savored in the afterlife. Therefore, royal tombs are always built on a grand and magnificent scale. The ceremony was held grandly with countless treasures buried alongside. These tomb villages have thus become targets for many thieves to eye. Yet, there are places that stir human curiosity but forever remain out of reach. The tomb of Wu Zetian is one such place. To this day, no one has dared to venture inside. Canling is one of the few well-preserved ancient tomb villages, located in Shaanxi province in the northwest region of China. This is also the most unique tomb village in Chinese history, built under the joint collaboration of two emperors simultaneously. And this is also a place that holds many mysteries to this day, leaving scientists constantly scratching their heads for answers. Specifically, the Qianling Mausoleum began construction in 684 and took 23 years of continuous work to complete. The construction of the tomb coincided with the peak of the dynasty's prosperity, when the nation was wealthy and powerful, so the scale of Qianling was designed to be exceptionally grand. Having witnessed the imperial tombs of all dynasties, this is the foremost among the mausoleums of emperors throughout history. The tomb was constructed following the model of Trang'an, the capital of the Tang dynasty. The structure of Canlang consists of three main parts: the imperial city, the palace city, and the outer rampart. The main north-south axis of the mausoleum stretches up to 4.9 kilometers in length, with an inner citadel perimeter of 12 miles and an outer wall perimeter exceeding 80 miles. And the inner courtyard of the mausoleum has a total of 308 rooms. The path from the mausoleum gate leading to the tomb entrance is 631 meters long, paved with massive stone slabs. The main mausoleum has 4 gates, arranged with a ceremonial pathway, ornamental columns, statues of horses, camels, lions, along with steles and intricately carved stone sculptures. All are of larger than usual scale. The emperors of ancient China always considered the construction of mausoleums their foremost duty. They usually began construction of this place right after ascending the throne, and the process often lasted for decades. Some were not even completed before the emperor passed away. When constructing tombs in ancient times, the most crucial factor to consider was feng shui, especially for royal mausoleums. This was held in even greater importance. The emperor is the supreme enlightened sovereign, the true son of heaven entrusted by the divine with a grand mandate. When constructing a tomb, the first step is usually to determine the location of the main vent. After identifying the dragon vein, the next step is to select the location for the tomb. The key factor in maintaining the energy of the burial site is the vital energy, qi. The ancients believed that when a person dies, their energy still remains. Therefore, the tomb's location should be chosen where wind and energy converge. The village is nestled behind cool green mountain ranges, with a gentle winding river flowing in front. This is the ideal place to recharge. Moreover, the lines often flow in soft, undulating curves, resembling the rolling contours of mountains. Thus, the mountain symbolizes the flow, while the water represents the blood vessels. The tombs of ancient kings were often built near mountains and rivers. Mountains stretching endlessly symbolize the infinite succession of royal dynasties, and water symbolizes the blessings and prosperity passed down by ancestors, while the mountain nurtures future generations. Though feng shui carries a mystical and enigmatic aura, it cannot by itself make a tomb impregnable. This shows that protecting the tomb is an extremely important matter. Therefore, to protect the royal tombs from the intrusion of grave robbers, emperors throughout the dynasties each established their own specialized departments, responsible for ensuring safety and carrying out tomb restoration. When the dynasty's power collapses, making way for a new reign, those factions will be completely abolished and dissolved. They keep watch themselves or turn a blind eye, and may even collude with tomb raiding gangs to break in and steal treasures. After that, concealing and reinforcing the tomb's entrance became the top priority. However, most tombs of previous dynasties could not escape the fate of being excavated. 17 out of 18 tombs from the Tang dynasty were looted. The tomb of Wu Zetian is the only one that remains completely preserved. So, what is the underlying cause behind this incident? Wu Zetian and Emperor Gaozong of Tang passed away during the peak prosperity of the Tang dynasty. Therefore, their tomb was built extremely grand. Moreover, the number of treasures in this tomb is also considered the largest compared to other dynasties. At that time, the palace housed countless extremely rare treasures. Alongside precious burial artifacts, this place also preserves the masterpiece Orchid Pavilion Preface *, Tang Dynasty poetry, and Tang-era ceramics. According to expert predictions, the amount of gold gilded in the tomb could reach between 500 to 1,000 tons. Precisely for this reason, upon completing the project, Tomb has become an enticing target, drawing the attention of grave robbers. According to documents and records, the tomb has been violated at least 17 times. But all must yield to a terrifying curse that remains unbroken to this day. Among them, there were 3 particularly serious grave robberies, occurring at 3 different times. It first occurred in the late Tang dynasty, when the Huangchao rebels rose in revolt from 874 to 884. Historical records state that the leader of this rebellion led an army of 400,000 to Lengshan Island and even leveled half of the hill. To find a way to approach Wu Zetian. Hoang Zhao failed to secure the expected military funds, but he didn't want to return empty-handed either. Therefore, he could only urge his subordinates to keep digging. Despite digging extensively, they still found no trace. Instead, they dug a large trench over 40 meters deep. When all seemed hopeless, they had no choice but to turn back. Later, this canal was also called Hoang Zhao Ditch. The second major looting occurred during the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period, 907 to 960, carried out by Wen Dao, the military governor of Yaozhou. This person once looted 17 royal tombs from the Tang dynasty. Therefore, this stone tomb was designed so that its walls could be easily opened to enter the mausoleum of Wu Zetian. No matter how meticulously humans plan, it can never compare to the will of heaven. As Ondao's group was digging around the tomb, a cataclysmic event suddenly occurred. Legend has it that on the first day when Ondao led his troops to excavate the tomb, an interesting anecdote was passed down. The sky was still clear and blue, yet in just a blink, it turned gloomy and misty. The wind howled fiercely, as if trying to sweep everything away. Because of this, the team of sculptors had to stop work multiple times midway. But strangely enough, every time I stopped, the sky would clear up as if there had never been any clouds. The sky was still dim, and just as they began digging the grave, it suddenly turned dark and gloomy, as if a storm was brewing. Though they had risked their lives to dig up the grave, one by one, Ondao's crew members died, some from accidents, others from illness. After that, utterly terrified, these trees fled for their lives and never dared to recklessly invade the barren tomb again. Lucky to survive the golden age of cold weapons, Wu Zetian's tomb was ravaged by firearms once again. And the third time, also the most severe tomb robbery, occurred during the Republic of China era under the command of General Sun Lianzhong. This General Sun used military drills as a pretext to mobilize troops and weapons to Ganling. However, like Wen Dao, Sun Lianzhong and his troops also had to face extremely horrifying phenomena. Legend has it that the moment the first round of cannon fire erupted, a stream of white mist suddenly emanated from within the tomb of Wu Zetian. The smoke lingered around the crowd, then suddenly surged upward, transforming into a furious storm that plunged the heavens and earth into utter darkness. According to folk tales, among the soldiers who participated in the grave exhumation with Tun Lin Trong that day, 7 suddenly coughed up blood and died on the spot. The mysterious phenomena and eerie tales surrounding Empress Wu's resting place terrified the soldiers, making them discard their helmets and armor before fleeing in chaos. Afterward, no one dared to risk their lives following Sun Lianzhong to rob that tomb again. Until 1958, the local residents in Kenlang accidentally discovered the entrance to the tomb. This happened when they used cannons to blast rocks, causing the tomb This rumor reached the ears of Guo Moruo, a man deeply passionate about ancient culture, and instantly ignited his fervor for archaeology. Quach Mok Nuok jointly devised a plan to excavate Canlang and then reported it to the government. However, due to the insufficient technological capabilities of that era to fully excavate the royal tomb, the plan was not approved. Since then, the Kandho excavation project has been temporarily halted. Having weathered the ups and downs of history, Canlang remains unexcavated to this day, standing majestically atop Mount Luang Sun. Canlang, a historical relic from the Tang dynasty, holds countless undiscovered secrets. Perhaps this very mystery is what gives the tomb its unique allure. Like the enigmatic life of Wu Zetian, the secrets of her residence and daily activities remain unsolved mysteries in Chinese history. Legend has it that in Canlang, there are countless secret mechanisms. Moreover, since Luang Sun is a limestone mountain, cracks and caverns can be found everywhere. Therefore, digging a hole would be extremely difficult, not because the soil is too hard, but because it has fluid-like properties. Finding the entrance to the tomb was difficult, but uncovering the clues inside Canlang's tomb proved even more challenging. Even if you find the right spot to excavate, tomb raiding is still extremely dangerous, as even the slightest mistake could cost you your life. After more than 1,300 tumultuous years, Canlang still stands proudly atop Mount Luang. The legends of the mysterious curse surrounding that ancient mausoleum continue to be whispered by later generations over idle tea and wine. The headless statues. On the grounds of Canlang, with its 40-kilometer main road, the most common sight is the headless stone statues, standing solemnly with their hands clasped. There are a total of 61 statues placed on the eastern and western sides of the Lang corridor. According to historical records, this image symbolizes the ethnic minority leaders from the borderland region attending the coronation ceremony for Li Tri at that time. Behind these statues, there are carved inscriptions, but they have now faded significantly. Strangely enough, all 61 of these stone statues were beheaded, yet the marks of the cuts remain intact. To this day, the reason behind the statues losing their heads remains a mystery to Chinese historians. Some opinions suggest that during the Unthach uprising, the rebels destroyed these statues, viewing them as an insult. Some believe an epidemic occurred during the Ming dynasty. The people believed these statues were the cause of the disaster, so they destroyed them. Much later, a villager living on Mount Langshan happened to uncover something hard while hoeing the soil. When dug up, the human heads were found to be carved from stone. Afterwards, the authorities confirmed that this was the first part of a total of 61 statues discovered at Canlang. Geologists say that in 1556, the 35th year of the Ming dynasty. Previously, an extremely violent earthquake with a magnitude of up to 11 on the Richter scale struck Shaanxi province. Therefore, even Canlang could not escape those effects. Because the prayer section was not sturdy enough, the upper parts of the statues above broke off and fell, then were buried in the layer of sand and soil below. To date, this is the most convincing explanation for the 61 headless statues standing guard outside the tomb of Wu Zetian. Only one person knows the way into Canlang. The immense treasure of Canlang is known to only one person who can find the way in, Mr. Go, a man now 68 years old. According to legend, his ancestors were once the guardians of the tomb. Long ago, every royal tomb was carefully guarded. Their duty is to stand guard and protect the imperial tomb across generations, ensuring it remains undisturbed and free from violation. For over 1,000 years, the responsibility of guarding Canlang has been passed down through generations, and currently, Mr. Go is the one shouldering this duty. He lives in a village near Canlang. Mr. Go shared that even now, he still maintains the daily habit of patrolling around the mausoleum. The only difference is that the tool has changed from an oil lamp to a flashlight, along with a homemade stick. The old man emphasized that the entrance to Canlang had only been passed down orally from generation to generation, which is why he alone now knows the way into the tomb. Additionally, Mr. Go always steadfastly upheld the ancestral teaching. Under no circumstances should one ever lay a hand on Canlang. Without a guardian, the tomb would face unimaginable calamity. Therefore, even if the young men in the village intended to dig up the grave on their own, old man would immediately stop them. Once, a grave robber and an antique dealer sought him out, offering 1 million yuan, equivalent to about 3.5 billion Vietnamese dongs, to buy their way into the tomb. Although Mr. Ngio's family had agreed, he himself remained adamantly opposed and outright refused. Finally, the situation became so tragic that the family was torn apart, each going their separate way. But even now, Mr. Go still does not regret that decision in the slightest. He said that every artifact in the tomb is a precious relic, and anyone who touches them will become an eternal sinner, committing an act of disrespect toward their ancestors. To date, Chinese experts and archaeologists still have no plans to conduct archaeological excavations at Qianling. They believe that if they risk excavating the tomb, the 1,300-year-old artifacts inside could decompose immediately upon exposure to the outside air. In other words, archaeologists must be fully equipped with both knowledge and technology to effectively preserve artifacts before beginning excavation.